All right, guys, welcome back to the Bottom of the Ninth podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Rodriguez, and today we're here with Bruce from Victus Sports. He's also known as the Bat King. I'm sure as you've seen all of his crazy, insane designs. What's going on, Bruce?
Not too much, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Happy to be here. Happy to talk to you, man. So, for those of you guys who don't know, if you're listening in, Bruce is what's your main title over there, Bruce?
That's a good question. Pretty.
I bet, yeah.
We're not hugely into titles.
Yeah.
But if anything, it will be the special projects artist.
Okay.
So
Cool. Yeah. I mean that still sounds pretty tight.
Yeah.
And if you can't tell from his background when he says creative, he's the guy who's behind all the custom bats, man. So how have you been designing bats for a long time? Is that something you were kind of been doing for a while and then you got into it with Victus, or how did that whole thing come about?
Well, it started with me learning to airbrush, I was 17 years old, and I've airbrushed everything from T-shirts, sneakers, ball gloves, coffins, motorcycles.
Wow.
And
okay.
In that, the airbrush is a very versatile tool. And so, in that being said, Victus had a project a couple years ago that they wanted to get done for Johnny Gomes.
Okay.
And they wanted. They found my number and they asked if I could do it. I did the project for them. They loved it. And then I did another project for them before I started working for them. And that one, they were like, well, we can't let you leave the building. So let's figure out a way to make this work. Yeah. So
that
it was cool
sense.
for me. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I mean, it was okay. It was cool for me because a bat was something new to me. And, it was a new shape to work with. So, they basically made a pitch to me that we're going to let you come here. We'll set you up in the back. We'll let you just design. And for the first couple months, I didn't even do anything that we really felt was a good enough release. Because, I was still trying to figure out the right way to adapt like their style to my style and all that. And, once we started hitting that stride, it took off. So
yeah, I mean, dude, you're blowing up like all over Instagram. Like your designs they're sick, dude. Like, so I know I think you didn't have anything to do with that Whataburger one, did you? That Marucci, I think Marucci did it. I can never tell. Because they're doing some custom wood bats too. I'm not sure if you have anything to do with that one. So it's it's called Water. There's a restaurant here in Texas. I think they've expanded. It's called Whataburger. And they did a bat that was like orange and white, and it looked like one of the box of fry. It looks sick. I don't know if you had anything to do with that one or not.
No, but that one was pretty sick. And those guys down there, I've talked to them. I've been down to Baton Rouge, and they're trying their best to turn out some cool custom stuff.
Cool.
So
but you did those All-Star ones though, right?
I did for Marucci. I did do Stanton's. That he used in the All-Star game. Dude. So, so that was a pretty cool project. I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, so, that's the one that said Hollywood across it, right?
That one those were bats we gave the All-Star players. Yeah, they had their names on those. Stanton actually, he was flirting around with the idea of being in the Derby, so I did do a bat for him that he actually used in the All-Star game. So that was the one where he hit that ball that was like really, really hard.
Where he
they give me a hard time about putting Marucci. I'm sorry.
No, that's just there's a weird delay, so I'm sorry if it's weird. But I just said I think he broke the Statcast record or something with that bat when he hit that one. Certainly. It was like stupid. Yeah, dude. But so you've been an artist, so you weren't just and that's a thing like that people don't know, and that's why we like to bring this awareness, because a lot of our audience obviously is pretty well aware of you and your designs and all the stuff you do with Victus. And so you were an artist. I know you said you were an artist with an airbrush, so you were doing pretty much. Was it other art that you were doing before you got into the bat game? I know you said that they contacted you about doing that bat for Gomes. So what kind of art were you doing before you stepped into the bat game?
Well, like I said, I started out doing like T-shirt art and all that kind of artwork. I actually went to school for computer animation. I did that for a couple of years, which really helps me because I have a really good background when it comes to designing on a computer. When Victus found me, I was in about my 7th year at a motorcycle shop where I was their in-house artist. And it's a pretty good shop. I mean, we did a lot of bikes, a lot of motorcycle paint jobs. So so that's cool. Where they found me. So.
That's cool though, man. So you've got a pretty wide palette. You've been around the block. You've been everywhere doing art, man. That's pretty sick though. So were you a baseball fan before you got into this, or was that something that just kind of fell into you, like one of those things, or?
Well, the joke is with my dad, because like a lot of dads, they always want their son to be a baseball player, and
yeah.
I was probably about 20, 21 years old when my baseball career was done.
Yeah.
So, now the joke is that, well, I'm not on the field, but my artwork is, so, but,
I mean, yeah. So. And your artwork's on the biggest possible stage it could be on, dude. So you're doing it. So I think if your dad's got any beef, I'd say, hey, I'm doing a lot better than I probably would if I was still playing the game, but that's awesome, man.
Sure.
So what's a creative, so like a creative, your process. So is it something that you kind of just toy around with different designs? Are you talking to major league guys who are giving you like kind of inspiration on what you want? Or is this something where you kind of come into the office every day, you look around, you maybe saw something that inspired you and you just started designing it? How does that process work for you?
It's all of it.
All of it. Yeah. All inclusive.
Yeah. Yep. So, we just released our pencil bat, and that was a bat that I designed 3 years ago. And that just came from the idea of, I was like, a baseball bat needs to look like a pencil,
Yeah. I mean, it's sick. It looks sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I designed it, I created it. And then for a while we were just like, we didn't know when to release it. We have a really good partnership with MLB The Show. And, that bat was one of the first ones we got into that game. And
that's so cool.
It was pretty awesome. So
yeah, that's
so it kind of like took on a life of its own in the game. And then I was like, man, so many people were talking about it. I was like, I got to release it in 2023. And I thought it would be a really good way to start the year off, hit the ground running with that bat. So, but other designs, some come from players, some come from guys in the shop that might have an idea. And, the Hollywood sign bat, that one was floated in a meeting that we had. And I was like, man, I got to wrap my head around how I can do this. And it kind of came together through that meeting. So, but
yeah, man, I mean, that's like the pencil. So the pencil one, was that just an idea you had? Cause that thing's been blowing up. I know you had those two guys that you had in there, and I guess in y'all shop swinging them. It sounds amazing, dude. That bat is legit. I'm trying to get these guys here to buy me one so we can case it actually here in the shop here. Cause it looks sick.
I think they're going to pull it. I think it's going to, by Friday, they're going to have it sold out. So
I know. I got to rush on it, but yeah, man.
There may be a fungo coming. I'll tease that.
Ooh, a fungo. Hey.
Yeah.
I can do a fungo. That's I coach in the spring, so I'm like, if you got a fungo, I might have to cop one.
Yeah.
So
I will tell you, up until last year, I coached probably my son since he was in T-ball, and I had the sickest bats, the sickest fungo.
I bet you did. Why
coaches definitely need them.
Yeah, dude. I mean, so you coach baseball as well. How old's your son?
Now he'll be 16 in a month, so I kind of handed the coaching responsibilities off.
Yeah,
but I did the fun years.
Before it started getting real serious. Yeah, I feel that.
Yep.
So what's, and this is something I kind of want to jump to it a little bit, but what is your, to this day, and it may be one you haven't released yet, I don't know, what is your favorite design? And I want to say it's not the pencil, though. I know the pencil is like, it's so sick. Like, I can't even get over, like, I'm going to probably have to go buy one like immediately after this interview. But like, what's your, and that's your favorite, what's your second, or like the coolest design that has the biggest and coolest background behind it? What's the coolest one you've made so far?
Oh, wow. God. Okay. Well, man, that's a tough one, because the pencil bat, for me, that is up there. I will tell you, and listen, I'm rooting for this guy. Everybody here at Victus is rooting for him. My Tatis bat head that I did. That bat, that one was the very first bat that got into MLB The Show. And that one was the first one where I really felt like we did something that was 100% unique on a bat,
Absolutely.
And because of that bat, spawned, I mean, you see Chuck Liddell behind me.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah. That's so cool.
It's like the possibilities are endless, people just have to keep being people, and I can make a bat look like them.
Yeah.
So that bat allowed me to have people really look at them as cool swingable art that you can have a lot of fun with,
Yeah, man.
And, so it would have to be that one.
That one. That's pretty cool. And like, yeah, man, I know that whole thing happened with Tatis and everyone was kind of, it's one of those things, but I mean, he's a hell of a ball player, man. I'm not going to, you can't take anything away from the dude. He is a hell of a ball player. He's got a lot of swag and he brings a lot of excitement to the game. And that's all I'll say on that. But I mean, I think, did you guys tease that one? I feel like I've seen that one.
Oh, well, the El Nino,
the El Nino, yeah.
Yeah, that one released at this point almost 2.5 years ago.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say I've seen that one.
Yeah. Up until the pencil bat, that was probably our biggest release. So that bat did extremely well. So the pencil eclipsed it though, so which is awesome. So
the pencil eclipsed it. So are you guys? So I know Victus is kind of on the up and up, man. Like you guys are really rising. Like, and to be honest, I'm an ex-ball player. I played all the way through college. And I'm a huge Marucci guy. I've just have been my whole life, but Victus like is changing the way, like I have 2 Victuses now. Like I just can't like not swing them. They're just beautiful. They feel immaculate. It's insane. Do you have anything? So do you design the regular stock models like the Tatis 23 or the V cuts, any of those? Is that anything that you design? I know they're pretty basic in color, but do you have any hand in those as well?
I don't really have a hand in those. Those are more of, we'll have the player's model, we'll design off of the player's model. And then a lot of times we'll offer them colorways that they like, and then they'll kind of choose what they like. And that's how we kind of roll that out. So, I didn't know if that was something that you had a hand in. I know they're pretty basic, but like there's some guys that are like changing up the way that they swing. Like there's bats that are like not the traditional black or tan or natural grain cut anymore. There's like the Tatis ones with the cherry and the black mat. Those are sweet, man. So I didn't know if you had anything to do with those too, because they look pretty sweet. They look pretty clean. Well, when it comes to what gets on the field, MOB has. It's their call. They basically tell us these are the colorways, and Victus has been pushing the envelope for a long time.
Yes, they have.
So this past season, J-Rod did something that we didn't think was unfindable. It was that when I did the batting practice bat for him, we presented it to him, and then next thing you know, it started showing up all the time with him in BP. Up until that point, we were told you can't have these bats on the field, not even for BP. So, but he used it, and to MLB's credit, they let him use that bat. So that opened the door for us. So we did a whole bunch of batting practice bats for a whole bunch of guys and got a whole bunch of them on the field. And we didn't go broke doing it. So that's a really good sign for us that MLB's letting these guys have a little bit of flair. And that opens the door, hopefully, to doing some stuff in game. So that would be great.
That, it's funny you say that, man, because I was talking to Eric and we talk about gloves. Gloves are weird. You can't have certain colors because it blends with the ball, or, there's all those different restrictions. But I was, we're talking the other day, and, the way that baseball is moving, like, and I think that MLB probably should loosen the reins a little bit on stuff like that, because like it just makes the game so much more exciting. Like when you do stuff like that, like the amount of hype that I saw, and I just refer back to the All-Star game because that's, I think, when they really loosened it and everyone kind of got to do a bunch of crazy cool stuff. Like there was no restrictions on cleats, gloves, sleeves, their jerseys, what they wore. It was super loose. And that's when everyone saw those bats. Like I saw the rollout of those home run derby bats and the BP bat. And I'm like, I think that that's good for baseball, man, because all these kids, like, as they're growing up, like, it's not the traditional, like, boring, like, gloves and bats. Now the game is, like, expanding where there's, like the bats behind you have all those cool things, and those are working their way to be used, and it gives the player more of a personality and a flair to themselves. You agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I refer to these players as like kids. A lot of them, they're like way younger than me. And these kids, they just want to show their personality. In a lot of respects, these guys want to show their countries that they're from. The cleats are great, but the bat is also something that is so visual. And young kids see this stuff, and I picture a day when you're like running to the TV because I want to see what Harper's swinging tonight. Does he have a Fanatic bat? Does he have a crayon? What sick thing was done for him? And I think it makes it kind of like almost like must-watch TV when there's fun things to look at. Baseball. I mean, I love baseball. I'm never in the school that baseball is boring. I think even when nothing's happening on the field, it's interesting.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
But to get something that helps keep these kids engaged and to grow that younger brand, I think is awesome. And not only for that, but when you have even people like in their 20s, you do custom stuff now. It allows MLB to monetize on that, to maybe get players to sign it and sell them or donate them or whatever. Yeah. It makes it something more unique than just that natural wood bat. You also have a piece of artwork on your wall to match the signature going with it.
Yeah, man. So. That's exactly how I feel, and that's something we were talking about the other day, especially here, like, because we're retailers and we're like, what's new and what's happening, and like you're seeing more and more color and more crazy designs and colorways coming out in gloves and bats and all that stuff, and I'm like just to kind of bring it back, did you have anything to do with the Victus Knox 2, that design?
Well, I had very little input.
Okay. So, because I was going to say, even that bat design, when they showed it to me like a year ago, when they came down to our demo day, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this thing is beautiful. Like, and y'all, I haven't seen a bat. Like, y'all are the first people to make a bat with a swirl design with all the idioms and different terminologies from baseball. I just thought that was like the most unique thing I've ever seen. And that's just you guys like being such a unique company. But I didn't know, like, with your cool designs, if you had anything to do with that one as well, because it looks sick. Well, it looks awesome.
Yeah. The Knox is a pretty cool bat. The new Knox is actually, I think they're starting to tease that out maybe today. I think
it's coming up pretty quick.
A couple of days away.
Yeah,
so I think Friday that bat's dropping. So, but yeah, it's a very cool bat. It's a nice version for the second one, but yeah, Bat King I don't get saying everything of Victus.
I wish you did, man. I really do, because I've been following you for a while. Like me, I do all our social stuff for Baseball Express. I've been following you for a while, and I was like, well, I wish you had. The cool thing is that whoever is doing those bats, y'all are really all. And that's something you don't see a lot in companies. Like sometimes people are on different pages, but you guys are all like on the same like wavelength almost, because your creativity really meshes with each other. I think that's kind of a compliment, man. I thought maybe you had something to do with it, because all your designs are so cool. Like, and whoever's making those, y'all are on the same wavelength, man. Like, for real.
Yeah, certainly.
It's cool, man. It's cool. So another question I have. So for these bats, do you get to test them out when you make them? Is that something that you get to do? Is that something you get to check out?
It all depends. Sometimes, in my advanced years, I don't get in the cage as much as I want to. But I will definitely do bats. I'll throw them in the cage and just tell the guys to beat the heck out of them.
Yeah.
So,
well, I feel like with some of those nicer ones, it may hurt a little bit, like to take them in there and beat them up. But I'm like, oh man.
I'll tell you the worst thing is when you give a pro player a bat and he doesn't want to swing it because he likes it so much. I'm like, dude, I'll just make another one. Don't worry about it. Go in there. It means so much more to go in there and just bash a ball with it. To have it sit on the shelf,
Yeah, man, like for real. Yeah, I bet. I'm gonna have to hit you up after this, because I want to see if you could create us something for us, man. Maybe, but we'll talk about that another time, because we have some pretty cool stuff happening over here. I'd be like, that would be pretty sweet. But so what's happening in the future? I don't want you to give too much away. But what does Victus have coming up? What do you have coming up? Maybe that you can kind of give a little nudge in the right direction of what you got going. Because the pencil bat came out, and that was sick. That was awesome. And then like people are going to be like, well, what's next? And that's just kind of the nature of the beast with the internet and like instant gratification. People are always like, okay, well, what's next? Yeah.
Well, people have been on me about custom fungos. So I don't want to say that February is for fungos, but there could be 4 new fungo designs coming out in February.
That would be sick. Yeah, that would be cool.
So there's going to be some fungos we have. I'm working on some World Baseball Classic bats, although we're not going to call it that, obviously. It won't be like that. And then we just have some fun stuff going on. We just got off a call with MLB The Show, so I'm going to be giving them a whole bunch of new skins for the game. Ooh. So, there could be some future releases with those skins, just like we did with the pencil bat. So that's what's coming up. So
cool.
Should be some fun stuff.
So I got to ask, so I'm a big gamer, bro. I love video games, so I play all the time. How did you guys facilitate that relationship with MLB The Show? Did they see like your designs and be like, we got to put that in the game? How did that come about? Because I know you talk about them a lot, and that's I think for ball players in general, that is such an iconic game. It's been around. I remember when the show first came out in like 06, 07, it was such a big deal. And like to this day, I think I've personally, me, and I know there's millions of other kids and players who have bought that game every single year. It's come out and it's been released. So well, it's a 2-part question, I guess. How does it feel for you to be giving those skins and creating stuff for that game, for such an iconic game? How does that feel?
Incredible. When they sent me the first screenshot of Tatis with the El Nino in the game, that became the wallpaper on my phone, and it hasn't left. That was cool. A couple years ago.
Yeah, so, I bet.
Yeah. So, and I believe the relationship started with Victus even before I got here.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they had something in the game before I got here, but once I did get here, the CEO, Jared Smith, he basically forwarded an email to me from MLB The Show, and our contact out there, Charles Cruz, him and I just hit it off, and we just stay in constant communication with new stuff that we have coming out. So yeah, it just developed from there, and they loved the skins that I had been giving them to put into the game. It also helped. I sent them a bunch of cool bats that matched the game stuff too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they just really loved it. And then I guess, was it last year or whatever year Tatis was on the cover?
It was 21. It was 21. So
21.
Last year.
Yep. He called me up and he's like, I got something to tell you. A secret if you can't tell anybody. He's like, Tatis is on the cover. I'm like, yes. So from there it just like shot off, and now he's just like, however many skins you want to do and get into the game. And with my my limited background in computer animation, because that was the direction I was trying to go in the video games. Now, once again, someone else is making them, but my art's in there, and that's pretty dope. So
yeah. So are you a big video game guy? Do you play video games?
Not as much as I used to.
Okay.
So yeah, my son, him and I will typically play MLB The Show, but he crushes me, so he gets bored with playing against me.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that game is like it's like I said, it's iconic, and people are going to be playing it till the end of time. It's just such a great baseball game. If you're a ball player, like you're playing The Show, there's just no way around it. Like there's no way you can't. But like to your point, like how big, and this is kind of like making me sound like a real big nerd here, but since I've been playing The Show forever, like the minute, I think it was in 16, they started, like everyone wanted, and how big, like having like Tatis having his own bat and having guys who wear their brands like Nike and Victus and all these bat brands, like playing that game for so long, it looked so cheesy for such a long time because they would have such generic stuff and it just looked so funky. But like the minute they started putting like real gear like Victus and all these bats in the game, it changed it, man. It made it like 10 times cooler. And then now on top, they're putting in like custom stuff like that's almost like NFT-esque, like on how you can only have it digitally. It makes the game like that much cooler. And I think that you and MLB The Show have like embarked on something really special, man. Honestly, like that's insane.
Thank you.
Like, that's so cool. Of course, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's really, really cool because we're giving them some really cool content, but they're giving us a ton of free marketing.
Dude. Yes, so I believe it.
It's like,
I believe
it.
So and where are you guys located at?
We're in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania,
so
okay.
Probably about
cool.
20-25 minutes from Philly.
Got you. Oh, okay, cool. So are you a Phillies fan?
Certainly,
huh? So I know. So I don't know if I can say this, but if you're a Philly fan, you got to get Harper in some Victus stuff, dude. He is king for swag and doing all that stuff. I would hope you could make one for him pretty soon.
Oh, you mean a custom bat for him?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I've made quite a few custom bats for Harper. So,
really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. I have. I don't have it in here with me, but I actually have a Harper bat head that I made. I gave one to him. I think we gave one to him to give to Kruk. He's giving some out for auctions, but I've done a number of customs for him. And actually, before I got to Victus, they did the We the People bat that he won the home run.
Yeah, that's right. So you did that one too?
I didn't do that one. That was before I came to Victus. So
okay.
We have a guy, Diesel Bats, and he's still with Victus. He just doesn't really do any of the limited stuff anymore since I got here. But he created that bat, and Harper won the Derby with that bat, and that was sick. So
I remember that one. Yeah, I forgot about that one. I remember that one. It's the one that has like the script on it, right? It looks like it looks like the Constitution, right? Yeah.
Stripes.
That is so sick, man. Like, and that's the thing I'm talking about, man. Like that makes the game so much more exciting. It does, man. So You're doing some really great stuff. So also on the bat side, do you have it? So, and this is kind of like more in the technical aspect of things. And so when you make these custom bats, are they a specific cut? Do you make some that are meant to be used, or are they sometimes meant to be like those, like the Chuck Liddell or that? What's that gold one behind you that I'm looking at?
That's a Bat Boys baseball one.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw when they came to the shop.
Yeah, I just saw that's the one I saw when they were swinging that pencil bat, and I was like, oh, okay, they just came by. And those do take some.
I had them tag one up for me. So
dude, that's so cool.
They're
that's
real nice guys. So.
Yeah. So do you make ones that are meant to be swung, or are they mostly like decorative bats, or is there a certain cut that you make? Do you have your own cut? I'm not even sure.
Well, I don't have my Bat King model yet.
Okay.
But basically, if I'm designing for a player, I'm designing their model. Right. Whatever they swing in the game, that's what I'm doing for them, and I'm making them a gamer.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something that sometimes like autograph bats, I'll do what we call souvenir or trophy bats. They're bats that you can't swing because they have a flaw or something in them to be swung in the game. But 9 times out of 10, when J-Rod autographs a bat, no one's going to use it in a game. So the trophy bats are perfect for that. But when I do a release like the pencil bat, I'll use a popular like bat that we have. So in that case, that was a JC24. That was a popular model that we have. So I'm pretty safe that even if it's not someone's favorite model, they might still like that JC24. Yeah. So whereas if I were to go to a bat that maybe is inloaded, then it's like, well, I like the design, but I can't swing an inloaded bat. Yeah. So, but in certain regards, I'll have to stay like J-Rod, his graffiti bat, when we released that bat as a gamer, I did his model. You kind of get what
That's so sick.
So,
yeah, man. No, that's kind of one of those things. I guess that kind of makes sense. It's kind of one of those questions that people are just probably wondering. But like, I mean, I'm assuming when you make them for players, it's got to be their cut to their specific, like to their specifics on what they like to swing and stuff like that. So before you went into the bat, so when you first started making bats, did you have to like educate yourself on the ins and outs of like all these wood bats, or like? How did that whole thing happen? Was it kind of one of those things where you knew? I know you said you played ball up to your 21, so you have I'm sure you're pretty knowledgeable in the game. But like even to this day, like me, like working with product and working with all these different brands and all their bats, I'm still learning. Wood bats are like crazy because there's so many different pieces and all these different cuts. Like there's 243s, I30. I'm like sometimes my head like wants to explode with how much wood bat stuff. So is that something that you like would consider yourself an expert on now? As you've kind of dealt with all this stuff?
I don't want to say I would be an expert. There was definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
When I played ball, I picked up whatever the team had or what my parents could afford,
Same. Yes.
So, and I wasn't like, I wasn't real finicky about it, Yeah. But now, we've learned obviously that, even as a 10 or 12-year-old kid, knowing that you can swing an inloaded bat or that you need a balanced bat is important because you want to get better. And if you're not swinging the right thing, then it's going to be hard to get better. So, so there was a lot that I needed to learn about it. For me, it's not so much performance because I trust that these guys, whenever they make the JC24 for me, that bat's going to perform just like, like I want it to perform.
Right.
So, my learning curve was mostly into how do I make this cylinder look like a cool piece of artwork and where you can go and use it in a game, and hit a home run with it. So that was more of my learning curve with it. So.
Okay, cool. So did you, I know you guys are real big with King of JUCO, Eric Sim. Have you had the chance to meet him yet?
Yeah, I did. I did meet Eric. It was, he's a pretty awesome character.
Yeah, he is.
The first time I met him, it was like, hey, all right, it's the back, so I had to get used to the camera right there the whole time while I'm talking. But he's a pretty cool character, and I think I was babysitting the CEO's newborn the other day that he was here, so thankfully I didn't get to do the smelling salt, but he had a bunch of the guys in the cage doing the smelling salt.
No, that's not happening. I mean, he's been one of the guys that like we've had quite a few pro guys, and I've been like adamant trying to get him on here because he's such an like invigorating guy that you're just like, oh my, like you want to see if he's real, if he's actually that insane. But he's another guy that's just he's fun to just like watch, man. He's like super like I don't know. He's just one of those guys. And I know he does a lot of stuff with you guys. You created him a bat, right?
Yes, we did create him a bat. We also we did a limited bat for him, like not limited, just like a custom bat for him.
Yeah.
But then we also have his model, the ES69 that we sell.
Yeah, and, of course. The 69, you had to do it, yeah.
So, and that bat actually, it sells extremely well.
Does it?
There may be a King of Juco limited bat drop coming in the future.
Yeah, that would be sick. Honestly, like with like, I'm sure you're aware of the Bat Bros, right? I'm sure that they got to have one too, man. Those guys are awesome too, man. Those guys.
Maybe it might.
I don't know, man.
The possibilities are endless. So.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, like that's what's so cool about this, man. Like, there's just no end to this. It just keeps going. Like, there's just so many different people, man. Like, and to be like for me, I'm a huge rap fan. I love hip hop. Like and I think that like your bats are like pretty much like one of those things that like I think like as you grow and as I'm sure you're going to continue to grow because like I said, I can't say it enough, dude. You're like such an awesome inspiration. Like you're doing a lot of great things. Personally, I would love to see you do. I don't know if you know who Logic is.
Yeah,
the rapper. Yeah, I would love to see you do like a Logic bat, dude. Like that would be the coolest thing in the world. And this kind of goes into like the art aspect of it. His album covers are like some of the coolest ones I've ever seen. And like to put one of those on a bat or something like that would be like insane. Yeah. And I'm sure like as you grow, I'm sure more and more high profile people will be wanting bats, man. Like it just looks so cool to have. Like it's just one of those things. Like, and that's one. Yeah.
So a couple years ago in the Little League Classic, drawing a blank on his name, Brandon Marsh. I don't know if you remember, he had a custom bat in that game.
I didn't notice that, no.
Yeah. So if you go back, like if you get the images of him from that game, he actually has a little Uzi Vert bat that I was able to get approved by MLB The Show, which I don't know how. I mean MLB, which I have no idea how MLB approved it. But the barrel of the bat is the cover of the character that's on the album with the other character on top of him, and then the handle has like all these money signs all over it. So he has a little Uzi Vert bat, and I actually did like a diamond in the cup. So
that is so cool, dude. I'm gonna have to go back now and watch that because I watched that game, but I didn't like you kind of watch it, but you're kind of watching it from afar. You didn't really pay attention to that, and that's one of those things that you like don't know. But like you just told, like I had no idea that was a thing. That's so cool. But yeah, man, I mean,
he was pretty excited. So that we were.
I bet he was. That's insane, dude. So like, so how do you? So let me ask. So you started making bets, and then you started. Obviously, you really blew up on Instagram. Was that something that? Was that a gradual thing over time? Was it like you started putting out designs and you blew up? Because I know, like when we talked to Eric Wahlberg, the Glove Cowboy, he's notorious for making like really crazy designs with gloves, and I remember him like showing me because obviously you did like Victus came to hire you and you did that, but like for him it was different. You know, he's kind of started like just in his parents or his wife's parents' house, just like loving gloves and just kind of going from a piece of that was. So when you really blew up, and I think you have blown up, man, like, and you're going to continue to grow. I mean, this is insane. Like you're huge. Do you think that all became because the baseball as itself is growing, or do you think that there's a mix of cultures going into this whole thing, this whole Bat King persona that you've kind of created?
I think it's definitely a mix because, you know, baseball, I don't know if baseball is growing we sell a ton of wood bats. We'd like to see the baseball grow to show personality and all that, which we talked about. I think one of the reasons that Bat King has done well is because it's like opening a lot of, like, people have done custom bats before me. Yeah, they definitely have. But here it's I don't know. I feel like I've been able to like present it as an art form. That, oh, by the way, you can go smack home runs with it, you know? And to be able to get bats to players and be able to show like their personalities, or to be able to show them that they like it like, I think it really, really helps. And I think it's growing. And I think with the custom cleats has gone a long way to help the bats, because it's natural. Like if you're doing cleats, like, it's natural to do custom bats too. Right. And then it's, wait, can you actually use that in the game? Oh, wait, you can use it in the game. So now it's like kind of bringing the story full circle in a way. And Bat King, I have a long way to go with it. And when I first started uploading, I kind of had like a little style that I was doing or whatever. And it's kind of been like a process. I tried so much. I never wanted to show my face. I was like,
well, that's funny that you say that, because for a long time I was watching your stuff and I was like, I don't know who this guy is. Like, your name's Bruce. So like, I found that out, but like for a while I was just like, people were like asking me who I had on the show today. And I was like, well, it's Bat King. And they're like, well, and they were looking, like, my girlfriend was finding, she was like, who is this guy? Like, who is he? And you didn't really post anything about you till like when you interviewed the bat guys this past, when you did that video with the pencil bat. And I was like, that's like one of the first times you've shown yourself. Was that something that you just like wanted to keep it like an anonymous thing, like almost like a Marshmallow-esque thing? Or was that kind of like just for like your personal space and just space from how big the thing's growing? Was that one of those things, or what was it?
It was a little bit of, it wasn't anything personal because I'm a very outgoing person. And, someone wants to put a camera in my face, I'll talk. But but I kind of was like, I just thought that it would be like, one of my favorite artists of all time is MF Doom,
dude.
And
with the mask,
and yes, and that's how I was like, what if it's like he always said, I want it to be about the music, not about the man. So that's kind of how I looked at it. I was like, let it be about the bats. However, thank you. Our production company started putting pictures out of my face, like on the Victus site. I was like, well, cover's blown now. So, but really, once Bat King started getting a little bit of momentum, they really wanted to show that, look, we don't have, it's not like we're not hiring outside. We have an in-house artist who is doing this stuff. And this is this guy. And they wanted to make it like a labor of love, and that's really what it is for me. So. Yep.
No, and that kind of gives a more personal touch to the brand as well. It's like, not only are we just kind of outsourcing these guys, like we're like one big thing, like we all are one conducive area, like group. And I think that helps not only you, it helps the brand. You get a lot of support. I'm sure you being there rather than like at home or in your own place, you being there with all this baseball, the culture that Victus has, it probably helps, honestly. I mean, there's no way it doesn't,
It's a big help. These guys, it's a big help. Also in creating, because, our CEO, he's kind of like, we shouldn't just create in a vacuum. And, he's correct. There's a lot of influences, and, me being the age that I am, and we have younger people here that know certain things in the younger culture that I don't know. It helps us be more complete. Right. So it certainly helps. And, Victus, they pretty much give me any resource that I need. These guys have my back. If I have a vision and I want to try something or do something, they try their best to make sure that I have those resources to accomplish what I need to accomplish. So.
Yeah, man, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's what else can you ask for, right? I mean, that's exactly what you need, right? I mean, yeah. Yep. So when you started making bets, so I know they hired you, outsourced you for one bat when you first started. Had you experimented on spraying? Because I know you said you were working at a body shop, you did motorcycles and stuff. Had you ever done a bat before then?
No, I hadn't really done any bats before that. It was, I really didn't spray on much wood, to be honest with you. It was a unique canvas, and it was fun to try. So
was it one of those things where it was like, a bat, I'll give it a shot? Because I mean, I'm sure like you have to gloss it, right? There's a process from when you're doing like metal or you're doing a car or a bike, right? It's a different process of doing it, right?
Yeah, certainly. And if I can remember back, I can't remember if I think I started from just bare wood. So now if I would go back, I probably would have had them put a base coat on there for me before I started my artwork. But I'm not, that bat that I did, I'm not sure if that bat, I think it might have been a trophy bat and not a gamer. Okay. So, it wasn't going to need to hold up to rigorous, hitting.
Yeah, it's just going to be sitting around. Yeah. That's still cool. I mean, I still think that's sick. Do you still, I know and this is the thing about artists, like especially yourself who does paint jobs. Do you still do other art outside of baseball? I know, did you do that Tatis picture behind you?
Well, no, that Tatis picture, I photoshopped most of that. There was that picture out there, but I photoshopped the glasses.
Okay. I was gonna say, do you still do other art? Is art like a passion of yours? Do you do other paintings? Do you do other objects? What do you do when you're outside of doing bats?
Yeah. Well, the first couple years when I came to Victus, I was still doing motorcycle art. if you came to the shop to check out my work area, you would have seen motorcycle parts all over the place. So, yeah. And then, goalie mask, motorcycle helmets, all that stuff. But now last year I had to really kind of tone back that because I just got so busy and, it's really hard to do everything well. So,
right.
This year I have a couple projects from last year that I'm still trying to finish up, but moving forward, I'm probably focusing mostly on bats. So, if I don't see it happening, but the skill doesn't go anywhere. If I ever want to paint motorcycles again,
you can go back.
It's still there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's still cool. I that's one of those things you ask because as an artist, and I consider you an artist, it's like sometimes, it's like you don't, and that's kind of one of the things that make a lot of great artists great is that their palette is huge. So it's like they'll do one thing, but then it's like, well, I can do this, and I dabble in these other areas. So I didn't know, like, obviously as you paint, that's like something, I'm sure you love to do it. So it's like it's like a hobbyist type thing. Like you're going to do it all the time. You're always thinking about it. You're always doing it. So I didn't know if that was something like, oh, well, like maybe when I go home and I leave the office, it's like, well, maybe it's like, oh, I have this thing at home. I'm going to work on this at home. Like that kind of deal. I didn't know. Everyone's got different creative processes and stuff like that. So I figured maybe, I don't know.
I always am thinking art.
I believe it.
Drives my wife crazy.
So. I believe it, man. Well, thanks, man. It's been an honor having you. I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's already 5 o'clock and it's already 6 over there, I'm sure. Because my brother, it's funny, my brother lives in Boston, so his time is always different. He's way up in the north, and I'm like, I don't want to keep you too long. But man, I really appreciate you having you on and giving an insight to everything you're doing. You're killing the game, dude. Like we cannot wait. I know guys here were super pumped. They're going to be super excited to hear this conversation and kind of get some background to all the stuff you're doing. It's sick. But yeah, man, do you have anything else you want to tell the people out here? Anything you've got coming up? I know we've kind of touched on a couple things you've got working. I know you've given some sneak peeks with the fungos and a couple of other things, but anything else you want to tell the people, man? The floor is yours real quick.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you for having me on.
Of course,
really,
man.
Really appreciate it.
Of course.
Anytime I can talk about what I do, everything that I do, like art wise, it's just love. Like I love doing art. I love being an artist. And I just really appreciate all the people that have shown me the love back and that are willing to support me and to support Victus. Victus would probably be here without Bruce doing the Bat King, but Bat King would not be here without Victus. So I really appreciate all the support from everyone that buys these bats and that wants to go use them and all that. And just, I don't know. I'm trying to do better stuff for you guys and trying to keep it cutting edge, and I'm trying to keep pushing the envelope forward for you guys. So
you're doing a hell of a job, man. But real quick before I go, I have to ask, because I asked Eric the same thing because he's called the Glove Cowboy. Does the Bat King, when you made that username, does that have any specific, like, does it have a crazy backstory? Because his was the Glove Cowboy. Everyone referred to him as the Cowboy guy because his gloves backdrop on his bed was Cowboys. Do you have anything like that with the Bat King? What's the name? Where did that name come from?
Well, for a while I had been posting pictures on my other Instagram account, which is what I have like all my motorcycle art on and all that stuff. So, Jared and I had talked about having like a centralized place just for bats.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, what can we go by, So I started thinking, and, as I told the Bat Boys, like, David Blaine, I was young, David Blaine doing his things with cards. So cards are always around me. So, I'm like, man, King. And I'm like, Bat King. Yeah. I'm like, that seems fitting for me.
It's got a nice ring to it. Yeah, it makes sense. I think, did you post about the David Blaine thing? Because I read that.
The Bat Boys interviewed me and they said,
that's
who would
I
like to make
that's what it was. Okay.
So
cool.
Blaine, yeah.
Man. Awesome. Well, there you go. There's the story behind the Bat King. That's actually kind of a sick story. I kind of like that. Yeah. It's kind of cool. And it's got a nice ring to it, dude. It fits.
Yeah.
It fits well.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Well, thanks everyone for listening. By the way, you don't have to hang up right away. You don't have to get out. I'm just going to do the outro and then we'll hop back in real quick. I'm going to run you through a couple things real quick. But thanks everybody for listening. Thanks Bat King for being on. Thank you, Bruce. Thanks for Victus for letting him come on here. I know we were running a little bit late, but we still got him. That's all that matters. But thanks for listening. This episode will be available on all streaming platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.